head on more of a slant. Now, make a fist. Slowly ease it up underneath your chin. This is looking really good. Okay, hold still right there. Now, just imagine you're weightless. You're in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by tiny little seahorses. That was one. I think that's gonna come out really nice.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Yes, doing a little trolling of Kamala Harris. Good day, everybody. It is Friday, September 13th. Is that Friday the 13th, Josh?
It's Friday the 13th. It's kind of creepy.
Holy cow. I just realized that right now. It's funny. When I was a kid, I used to realize that stuff all the time. But
too busy as an adult.
That just snuck up. Yeah, it snuck up on me. Okay, well, folks, welcome to the program. We have we're watching the rigging happening in real time. It felt like maybe in 2020 that we had to play catch up to what everything was going on. But now, when you look at the last few months, where we've seen the first debate with Joe Biden and how that ended up removing Joe Biden from the race, the assassination attempt on Trump that seemingly has now never happened, no one talks about. And now we have Kamala Harris in here. We have this debate that happened that was just, the fallout from this debate is incredible. And now we're just kind of sitting here going, okay, wait, what is the next shoe to drop? Because everything is going against Trump at this moment, right?
Yeah, all of these elements, if you kind of take a step back and you look and you go like, okay, only a few months ago, there was this crazy decision to have the earliest debate, really, I think maybe on record. And here comes Joe Biden. He's going to debate Trump. And everyone's like, how's this going to go? Because isn't he fully senile? Everyone had that thought, right? And then, so we have the debate and it's, oh, look, what a shock. Ari Emanuel says, I can't believe this is happening. The news media is like, we didn't know, right? Big joke. But maybe that was all rigged for one really important purpose, and that was the quiet coup to suddenly have Kamala come in.
Yeah. And that it just, if you think, okay, if that was all, because everybody knew in Washington that Biden was, kaput, right? And so if you think, okay, well, these decisions don't just happen overnight. There has to be a plan, right? There's always a plan. There's always at least a North Star that you're trying to get to. And their North Star clearly is Kamala Harris must be president.
Yeah.
So when you think about a missing president right now, and we're still a few months away from January 20th, when we would get a new president, whether it's Kamala or Trump, maybe something happens earlier.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Matt, like every step of the way. And what I didn't say was the assassination attempt. No one can explain it either direction. We'll have some clips about that. And then, the DNC, the DNC convention was a joke. It would really, maybe the only purpose of that was for the mobile abortions. And so here comes the debate, and, it's full of rules that there's not any debates in the country. People debate all the time. There's collegiate debate teams, high school debate teams. None of them have rules like this. These are custom designed to handicap Trump, really. And then we find out it's 3-1. And oh, look, maybe Kamala knows these people emphatically or personally.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here, first let's look at, let's set up what folks are saying. So Mark Penn talks, he was he on Fox? I forget what show he was on, but here he is talking about putting the finger on the scale of this debate. Let's watch this.
And your reaction to any of that, Mark?
My reaction is I'm really concerned about what ABC did. When the refs put their finger on the scale, you got to throw out the score of the game. What would have happened in that debate had they challenged Harris and said, that's not right, what you said there about Charlottesville.
Right.
We don't know how she would have reacted, and then Trump wouldn't have to spend all his time on the defense center. I think they did a real disservice to the voters of America when they did that, and they put in jeopardy the institutions of debate.
Yeah, and so then to your point, now that we're learning about the relationship between Kamala, ABC News, the moderator. I think we have what's her name? Lindsay Davis was a sorority sister of Kamala Harris. Is that right?
Yeah. There's all these weird connections that, of course, they're there. In past debates, they've leaked the questions. It seems to be there's no question that Kamala likely had all of the questions ahead of time. So, not to beat the dead horse here, but this is the premise of our show today. Rigged. This is rigged right in front of everybody.
Well, we have this Twitter account. Here's the. Well, there you go. This is the other thing. Her PAC her sorority forms its own PAC, and then you have Lindsay Davis, who's a member of the sorority. I don't understand how this is not a. This should be a building scale. PACs can't coordinate with candidates and vice versa and that sort of thing. And then you have her own sorority, which I mean they're more than welcome to get into being a PAC. But then when one of those members is now the moderator of the debate, and then you have is it Black Insurrectionist over on X? We posted this on WorldNetDaily's X that an ABC whistleblower has signed an affidavit talking about how they gave sample questions, which were essentially the same questions that were given during the debate, and separate assurances of fact-checking Donald Trump, and that she would not be fact-checked, which is what Mark Penn alluded to in that clip earlier. So, we'll see if this affidavit is true, if this report here is true. But if it is, I mean, will it have any impact, or is it just more fuel for the fire?
No, the media has been so effective on this that I don't know how many people that I've spoken to. It's a lot that are actually engaged in politics, and they're like this. I didn't really want to watch it. I didn't watch it. I heard it was even. So the media does its job of like doing the drive-by moment, and then let's be honest, this is on us too, the people. We're so busy doing our stuff, doing our lives. Everybody's got the friend. Maybe you're watching the show now, friend, that's like never stops talking about politics and is engaged in politics, and it's exhausting. Yeah. And we have sympathy for you if that's you, or you want to be that person and you're watching the show right now. But you have to, because we have days left before this country is changed forever.
Well, Maria gets it. It's what she says. She's saying what I often say. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a great question, Maria.
It really is.
We don't know, but if you watch the show, our point is to find evidence that kind of gives us the breadcrumbs to understand what's going on. And I think, Maria, you probably know what's going on. Things are intentionally designed this way.
The other connection here is apparently the head of ABC News. Here she is. Dana Walden is good friends with Kamala Harris as well.
Yeah,
so
of course,
and that's no surprise. I mean, this, when you have George Stephanopoulos, who was the press secretary for Clinton, you can go down the list of all the people that worked in Washington, worked in the administration, that are now on television telling us what the truth is, the truth, right? All of the intel agencies, from James Clapper and all these, they all end up on TV telling you, no, this is what's really going on.
Yeah.
And it's mind blowing and very frustrating to
Matt,
I think get through.
The proper word for what this is, if you want to bring up that photo real quick again, this is an example. This is called incestuous. This means that people that know each other well align and work together. Incestuous has a sexual connotation, but this is what this is. This is the managerial elite. We're going to use that term here. We'll learn what it means. However you want to describe them, the swamp, the managerial elite. This is them working together. They all know each other.
Yep.
And what
30 years. They've known each other 30 years, apparently.
What we should get rid of, let's jettison this idea, journalism. It's pretty much dead if it's coming from the elites.
Yeah. But to counter that point, apparently Jake Tapper over at CNN has recognized this, and maybe this is just a little bit of jockeying of who should be more credible.
Definitely.
I think CNN probably just saw blood in the water and said, "Hey, we're in the tank too." But maybe we can crawl back some credibility. Let's watch this clip of Jake Tapper criticizing the debate.
Vice President Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy.
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
It went on from there. Despite the economy being the number one issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question. When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay, but again, how?
Yeah, and the only reason why people are even seeing this message or this clip from Jake Tapper is because other people play it. But no one watches that channel.
Yeah, I'll agree that he's got to dunk on the competition a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, look, Jake Tapper said the truth once. It's the old adage: a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, very good. And then whenever there's and then whenever there's corrections, if like, for instance, we have a shot here of Time Magazine making a correction on a story. She said that she did not advocate for funding transgender surgeries on prison inmates. Time was forced to issue a correction. You can see over there on the larger paragraph when they issued the correction that she in fact did answer a questionnaire in the affirmative, that she said she supported taxpayer-funded sex change operations for inmates. Or immigrants, detained immigrants. I'm sure she'd be fine with the inmate thing too.
Yeah. What this is, Matt, is like Time knows that no one's really going to see their correction. So it's just about the drive-by snapshot or the drive-by firing on Trump for whoever the millions of people that saw. It doesn't matter that they're going to correct. It just, everyone heard the one thing in the morons from the moron moderators go like, oh no, that's no, I'm pretty sure you said it with sarcasm,
Oh, right. Yeah, that was atrocious. Well, I mean, the debate was, I think now that now that we're walking away from it, and maybe this is the reason why Kamala has announced her desire for another debate, is that of the viral moments that are being taken away from that, a lot of it is, of course, the dog cat thing, which I think apparently exploded on TikTok.
Yeah.
But also, Trump had all the zingers, right? He stole her signature debate move, which was "I'm talking now," he had a bunch of things, and I think walking away from that, everybody was so impressed that Kamala sort of held her own a little bit in her presentation, but she wants another debate. Here's her post on X.
So North Carolina, 2 nights ago, Donald Trump and I had our debate. You watched it? Did you watch it? And look, I believe we owe it to have another debate. Right?
Yeah, maybe where you'll answer questions.
Matt, I just had this take I want to share. It's kind of amazing, right? So everyone's like, wow. If you really think about it, a lot of people are like, wow, she wasn't drunk for the debate. You know, she actually spoke like a normal person, which she almost never does. And that's the bar. The next president potentially wasn't drunk as usual.
Right.
You know?
Right. And wasn't suffering from dementia.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you're right. This is the bar, and that's what is so upsetting about this, Josh. I mean, our society is sick in the sense that, you know, on one time, we want to have the guy that we can laugh and have a beer with as our president, you know. But then when you realize that that's not necessarily the right way for the country, that you need somebody to actually lead. You need a man in the arena. You need the guy to show up and tell Putin and tell Iran and tell all these places and all these people to like chill it with the war, right? When you finally have somebody like that in office, now it's like, but he's too harsh, he's too mean. The double standards here are astonishing.
And I agree, Matt. Hey, I wanted to go back to, we were kind of talking about all the sequence of things that have been rigged.
Yeah.
But there was this great moment with Tucker and Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is part of Tucker's tour, and they were just in Tulsa the other night. They had this fantastic, if everybody hasn't seen it, I recommend it. I'm sure we'll have a link to it on the WorldNetDaily website. But we're going to show you this one clip. And this is going back to the idea of this. It's never going away. We're going to keep talking about the assassination attempt on Trump. We're not going to stop talking about it because we don't want it to become memory hold and a mystery. And Dan Bongino is a former Secret Service agent.
That's
and
right.
So his take on this is important. Let's watch the clip.
Attempted assassination of Trump. What was that, do you think?
It's just weird. Like the former president, potentially next president of the United States, was shot in the head on live television. A guy was murdered in front of his kids, and the stories disappeared into like the Superman 2 Phantom Zone. Someone asked me, was this an inside job or was this intent? And I never say anything I can't back up, ever. Layered incompetence is intent. I'll give you an example, right?
Can you repeat what you just said one more time?
Layered incompetence is intent.
Exactly.
So my brother-in-law's a doctor, right? If he's a doctor, right, and if he goes to the mall on a 110-degree Oklahoma City day and he's drunk and he's drinking and he's blowing through traffic lights and he's got some young kid he's babysitting in the car, and then he walks in the mall and leaves him there and the kid dies, did he intend to kill him? No. But there is so much layered incompetence, we presume intent. So when you're a Secret Service agent, like I was for 12 years, how was he put on the axe? Like, how are you walked out on stage at all when there's an open threat? How does a guy with a rangefinder manage to subvert an entire layered, $1 million security plan? So you don't have to ask me, was it an inside job or not? Because the truth is, I don't know. I don't know insiders. I'm an outsider. But I can tell you for a fact, layered incompetence is intent. But why don't we know anything about this shooter, this killer? Why? You think I'm stupid? There's something going on here. And layered incompetence is absolutely intent.
Wow. I feel like there might be a time where we're going to start having to call people assassination deniers.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, we need a catchy term. That's what the media always does. They create catchy terms like birthers or flat earthers.
Yeah. I mean, these assassination deniers, maybe Elizabeth will like that too. I think it's practically, they are almost to that point. I mean, we saw some of the lefties be all conspiratorial that this was completely staged. It never happened. Look at his ear. Like they're comparing his ear to Evander Holyfield's ear that was bitten off by Mike Tyson.
Right.
And so they're almost to that point where you can just lump them in with all these other, conspiracy theorists of things that never happened. But we know this happened. Everybody watched it live on television. And Dan Bongino's 100% right on this layered incompetence. What a great term. Because we just found out last week that, or maybe it was earlier this week when Senator Josh Hawley announced that there was the detail was largely made up of non-Secret Service people that had a 2-hour training by Zoom.
That's about what it looked like, actually. Now that like we go back, all those famous images of like everybody being confused. The women agents were not really sure what to do at times, And later in that interview, Bongino says all kinds of stuff like they didn't have like a secure room, so they don't normally rush them to the car. They don't have to. All that stuff was, they failed in a perfect sequence. The only thing that was the only true like positive thing that stopped that sequence of destruction was, God allowing the bullet to not hit Trump in the head. So
right. Yeah, that big beautiful chart saved his life, right?
Yeah, and then
big beautiful chart.
I think we have the story in here that we are expecting as well, that there may be a whistleblower or a leak with more information coming soon
about the assassination.
Yeah,
attempt. Yeah.
That's. I mean.
Well, folks, to bookmark WorldNetDaily, follow us on the X account, Rumble, all the places to make sure you keep tabs on this news as it comes out. So then going back to the third debate thing,
yes,
Trump says there will be no third debate for him, right? Because this is the third. The first was with Biden, the second would be with Kamala, and he's saying he rejects her demand for another debate. We have that story up there on WorldNetDaily. And I think we have a clip, too, of him answering a reporter's question on this.
Rules, you want a different format? Well, when you don't win, it's like a fighter. When a fighter has a bad fight, gets knocked out, or loses the fight, the first thing he says is, we want a rematch. So we won the debate according to every poll, every single poll. I think that, are we going to do a rematch? I just don't know. But we'll think about it. Would you still do the one?
We'll think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to never do it again based on it will not be fair. And the one thing that, the media just covers for itself. The media or the left, the Dems will never do a debate by Trump's rules, which are just classic rules. Like, let's have an audience. Let's have the mics be open. They won't do it.
Right. And let's have it in front of moderators that are not biased. I mean, I can't remember the time that, I mean, we saw the Republican debates over there on Fox and places, but I mean, can you imagine if like WorldNetDaily or a seeming, or how about somebody that has a huge audience? I know people have suggested that Elon Musk moderate a debate, or Joe Rogan, right? But I mean, these are fringe, even though they have like the world's largest audiences, they're fringe, they're not what real people want to hear from and ask hard questions and hear hard questions coming from. But that's what it is. I mean, this ABC debate was absolutely atrocious. And, Candy Crawley in 2012 lost her job, I think. I don't think she was invited back, at least to moderate debates. And I don't even know if she ended up being somebody formidable in journalism again at that network, at least at that network. But these two people, they're
heroes, man.
They're heroes to the left. Yeah.
They went after the evil dictator. That's
they took their shots.
What they'll go with. Yeah.
Yep, they did. All right. Well, should we move on to the Haitians, because that was a big thing that came out of the debate with the dogs and the cats and all that stuff, right? But we have a story up and over at WorldNetDaily, and we alluded to this on the show previously, that I had heard about somebody in Ohio that was trying to get visa applicants from Cuba, Christian persecuted Christians in Cuba, to come over. And you can read the story, read all about it here. But instead, they're getting the shaft while voodoo practicing Haitians are allowed to stay. This is an atrocious story when it really comes to holding up the ideals that America was founded upon, right? Like, bring us you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry. But there is a way to do it. And this also kind of puts a hole in the myth that Christians are not compassionate, or that we're not, we don't want to help the downtrodden. I mean, that's what love is all about. And while there could be a place for the Haitians in a direct path that can help them and help society, what they're doing in these towns in Ohio is absolutely bananas, because you don't just dump 20,000 people into a small town like that. And ignore the plight of other organizations and other communities that are trying to help other people and also have apparatuses given for them. So there was we have this compilation of what's been going on in Springfield, these residents testifying about the Haitian migrants. You've seen a bunch of these clips. We've been throwing these bunches at you, but these people just keep coming forward with more and more stories. Every time it feels like somebody's going to say that this isn't happening, 10 more people show up to give their experiences. So let's watch some of these clips.
I received a phone call that changed my life forever. She was collecting her trash can from her driveway when a car struck and killed her instantly. A Haitian immigrant was allegedly driving recklessly when he struck and killed her. I am paralyzed with anxiety when I'm getting my children out of the car in any parking lot, walking on any sidewalk, and driving on any road in this town.
This issue is not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is an American issue. This is an Ohio issue, and this is a Springfield issue. We, the people, have the ability to ensure our streets are safe.
Schools are overcrowded. Our education system has went in the trash. Housing is another issue. The overcrowding in housing. My son had to give me his house and move to another house because I can't find housing.
Is there a cutoff point for the population here? Or, I feel like there should be a no vacancy sign right now, and people are still coming.
That is such a great question. What's the cutoff? What's the occupancy limit?
Whatever destroys that town is the number of people that will be required.
I'm afraid you're right.
Because this, Matt, you made a good point with that article about the kids from, was it Cuba?
Cuba, yeah.
So in America, we do a lot of charitable things. We're the most generous country on the planet. And we're always doing missionary work and nonprofit work all over. And we bring people here in goodwill. And then there's a political motivation that is, it's such a blunt attempt that they didn't really think it through at all. And it doesn't make any sense, but it is one of those things that the government is known for doing, making gigantic mistakes that really you got to ask the question, is anyone driving the ship? Let's just drop 20,000 people into this little town. It's sad that Americans like these folks, which just look like regular people, are now paying the price for whatever this is.
Yeah, and to borrow the term from Dan Bongino earlier about layered incompetence, this is like layered malice. This is intentional. When you bring that many people to a small town, you can't just say, oh, this was. I'd like to know what the rationale is when you find a small town like that and you bring this many people there. It
doesn't seem like anyone can find one. No,
we haven't found one.
Other than what I'm going to posture this idea. What if cats and dogs may be affecting, and geese may be affecting global warming in this region? And the one way to thin the herd is to put in a group of people that really want to eat those animals. I'm just saying.
It's like when you bring in goats
you never
and you have
know.
too much grass in your yard.
Yeah. Just the Haitians will come in and they'll just really thin the herds of dogs, cats, goats, and geese.
Right. Well, we know that there has to be some problem because the governor there in Ohio, Mike DeWine, is sending $2.5 million and the state guard to Springfield.
What are they going to do though?
Address the problem.
Are they just
they're eating the dogs.
Now it's a police state. So the cops are just going to wander around and that's the goal. Spend more money, waste more money. No.
Well, that's what they're doing because that's the only answer that Democrats ever seem to have is to just find more money, spend more money. There were reports that the Haitian migrants, these Haitian migrants are getting, they're getting welfare, they're on food stamps, or they're getting all these services. Now, is this broad across the board that these are also like crazy drivers eating cats and dogs? Of course not. Like, that's not the majority of these people. The majority of humanity is good, right? It doesn't matter where you're from. You know, we're all human, right? And so the majority of us just want what's best for our lives and for our family and for ourselves. And so, you know, I saw a guy walking the streets interviewing Haitians, interviewing Springfield natives, and understanding with the dynamic of the community there. And a lot of these folks are just they're just normal people, but they are the victims of a welfare system, right? When you are given things, when you are just handed things over, you don't take responsibility. You also don't have any ownership over all of this, and you sort of just kind of rely on it and then become a burden on society. And when those people are standing up in those city council meetings talking about how the schools are overcrowded, the hospitals and all the public services are being overwhelmed by this massive influx that they were not prepared for. It's truly sad. It's truly heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, should we lighten it up and watch Biden put on a Trump hat?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, folks. I don't know. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear what you're thinking. So please, make sure you're commenting on all of this stuff. Keep us going here. But so over on WorldNetDaily on X, on our account, apparently Biden encountered some Trump supporters, and this happened.
Trump hat, I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it. You want to autograph it? Oh, sure, I'll autograph it. Huh? Yeah. You remember your name? I don't remember my name. I'm slow. You're old part. You're an old part. Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy. And you're an old person. I know you would know about that. What? About being old. Oh, I know. All right. I'm a young timer. He reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood. Well, I'm the only one. There you go, man. I need that hat. You want my autograph? Hell no. You know my name. Come on. I ain't going that far. Yeah, you said you would do a selfie. There you go.
It's amazing.
Wow. He autographs the presidential hat, gives it to the guy. That's incredible. What a moment. I mean, that is probably the most endearing. Is that the Joe we've all heard about, Josh? Is that the Joe? Yeah. Is that Uncle Joe? Is that Uncle Joe?
Yeah, he's funny because he pooped his pants again and he put on a hat that's just like his sworn enemy. No big deal. It's pretty good though. Like, it is weird. Aren't people weird? I watched it and I'm like, what a good old guy. No, no. I had to stop myself. No.
And to have that moment come after Trump during the debate saying that he's going to send Kamala a hat, right? Yeah. Didn't that happen during the debate?
Yeah,
where he's like, you're taking my position so much, I should give you a MAGA hat. And there's Biden. And then I guess we have a clip of he actually left with the hat. Like,
is this real? Like,
I don't know. Let's look at it.
Can't be real.
There's a little more to the story. I was struck by this sentence in the BBC, Emily. It said the daughter of the man who swapped hats with the president said Biden kept the Trump hat. After the interaction, she said that her father ended up getting another cap from the Trump campaign after they reached out. So he kept the hat. I mean, does he have it by his bedside in the White House?
I don't know. It's so weird to me, you guys.
I don't think we have it, but there's like a clip of him getting on Air Force One with a hat in his hand. That's what I thought we were going to see.
Oh, okay.
It's just a red hat.
Oh, it's a red. It may not be the same. Gotcha.
I think someone was making the clip, but
yeah. That's pretty funny. Well, it kind of reminds me of that story of Putin taking Bob Kraft's, the owner of the Patriots, taking a Super Bowl ring. You remember that story?
No, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so the owner of the Patriots was in Russia and he met Putin and he was showing off his ring and Putin was like, "Oh, that's really cool." He took it off, handed it to Putin. He was like, "This is a beautiful ring. This is amazing." And then he puts it in his pocket and walks away. And Kraft was like, whoa, wait, that's my like super, like you know, he has 9 of them, but that, you know, but still that probably was crazy.
This is my ring now.
Yeah. But at least that guy walked away with a Biden cap, signed Biden cap. I'd be curious to see how he signed his name, if we can compare it to any other signatures that we've seen out there. Well, Josh, this is the Friday show, the Friday the 13th show. We need folks to follow us on X, on Rumble. Yep. Where are all the places?
Yeah, everybody go over to Rumble, please. That's going to be WND Newsroom. We also have a WND Live is another channel we have over there. We need you to. People are doing an amazing job of liking, subscribing. Yes. But we need you to follow us over there. It is the guaranteed, at this moment, uncensored location where you can see all our content. And starting next week, we're going to have a whole lot more content. Our founder, Elizabeth Farah, has been out of the show this week, but the reason is she's doing an incredible job of a bunch of new interviews for her show, Farah on Fire. We'll bring a preview of that coming Monday. And just a lot more content is coming from us here at WorldNetDaily. Of course, you can read about all the breaking news at worldnetdaily.com, and our X account never stops breaking every great clip. All of the stuff we show on the show was usually on our X account the following or the previous day. So it breaks before almost everybody else, and we bring it to you here on the show. And of course, the Telegram, which we can show a lot of stuff on the Telegram that you can't really see anywhere else. So we recommend you follow us over there. Sometimes the craziest clips will not go on some of these streaming services, and we don't want to offend people, but the Telegram acts as the open fire hose, as you will, of all the content.
Yeah, that's great. Are we going to be able to show like a preview or a clip on Monday during our show of Elizabeth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll have a preview coming up of what that show. She has some amazing guests, including Dr. Robert Malone, who they talk for 2 hours about everything. And if you know who Dr. Malone is, he received prominence during the COVID insanity. He is one of the early developers of the mRNA technology, and he was very against it being used on humans. But he's just kind of been awakened to what's happening in the world, and he has incredible takes. And that's just one of many of the guests she'll have on her show.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, we definitely look forward to that. All right, folks, we're going to leave you with Taylor Swift's latest hit. But please do come back here on Monday, and God bless.
After the debate, I just couldn't wait. They told me what to say. Played in every way. I want Euro-level rapes, unrecognizable states. At least I vote that way. They told me what to say. I want Trump losing, Haitians barbecuing, Garfield with some cumin, right outside saying this cat's cooking up real nice. Cause I'm Taylor and I play. For the Democrats who take. I'll pretend it was a stage. My mask is off, I'll take it off. Got all riggers trying to rig. Trump's turned out into big. Did you think I'd only sing? My mask is off, I'll take it off. No kids to raise and feed, but my cat's LGBT. Nothing else means much to me, except for killing babies. Got an army full of drones. Don't track where my